Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another video. It's that time of the month again where we get to distribute and allocate the money we work hard for day in, day out. This is not my favorite thing to do, but I am forced to do this because recently my husband and I have been getting into a bit of friction over money issues. And I think this is not something that is unique to us as a couple. Most couples experience this issue at one point in their marriage. So if you're married, then you've definitely had money conversations, and most of the times people tend not to agree on the how, when and why money is being spent. So we've been in that type of predicament lately, and I've noticed maybe the way we've been doing things is not the best, and so I decided to go back to the way we used to do things before. So before these conversations started happening, the method that we were using was this. I would sit down, write out everything that we needed for the month, and just send him a total bill of everything that we need for the month, and then he would send the money. But lately, because I've been pushing for an increase in the money that he sends, he has been pushing back a bit because he's also thinking about saving and also thinking about other things that we need to do around the house. So it's like, we have to actually reduce the money that I'm sending you. We have to be saving. So there's been a bit of friction over that. This is actually worsened by the fact that we're in a long distance marriage. So most of the time, I feel like because I'm on the ground, I get to experience the day-to-day needs of this family, and I see how we are spending the money on a daily, and I can clearly see that it's not enough. But because he is not here, he doesn't necessarily see where the money is going daily. He knows it's being used, but I feel like there might be a sense of money is being misused. So I've decided to do things differently this month around. You cannot outdo me. So I've decided to sit down and actually go through our monthly expenditure step by step. I've got my pen and paper here. Yes, I'm a pen and paper type of girl. I skipped my lessons in Excel. Forgive me, guys. So I have tried to do Excel, but it's not my favorite thing to do. I always resort back to my pen and paper. So we're going to be going through the monthly budget, and for each item I'm going to try and explain to you guys why that item is there and why we're spending so much on it. But before we get into that, I need to give you guys some background information. First and foremost, the number of people living in this house. So currently we have a total of 7 people living in this house. That is 2 adults and 5 children. I know you guys know that it's usually myself and the kids, but we recently took in a relative, and so all in all we are a total number of 7 people. So put that in mind, because when you start seeing the figures, it needs to make sense, okay? And then the second thing you also need to know is that we are a one household income. So that means the person who is bringing in the bread, the butter, the bacon is just my husband. He is working out of Zimbabwe and is the one who is sending all the money that we need for everything in this house. And this brings me to a very important point, you guys. I want to also contribute financially. I want to contribute financially through my YouTube channel. So I am kindly asking you guys to watch those ads. I know people automatically skip an ad when it comes, but every time you do that, I want you to picture yourself because that is literally what you are doing when you are skipping those ads. My dream is to make money as a stay-at-home mom through content creation. So please support my dream by watching those ads. Thank you very much. Another thing, you guys, this list is not going to include the school fees, the bus fares, everything that has to do with the kids and going to school. But have that in mind, that on top of this list I'm going to share with you, there's also other costs that we incur on a monthly basis that I'm not going to be putting here. It's mainly what we use pano pamba directly, what we eat, what we wear, what we spend in this house. So that's what I'm going to be mainly focusing on. So first things first, I'm going to try and put the things that I'm writing on the screen here. So the first thing that I'm going to put on this list is internet. Internet is really important for me because one, I work on the internet, so making these YouTube videos, making my other videos for my social media platforms which I'm trying to grow, so internet is always there at the top of the list. And the other reason why it's there is because the only way I communicate with my husband is via WhatsApp video calls, WhatsApp messages, everything WhatsApp. So we always have to be connected. And recently we installed the Starlink, which has been great. It has been beautiful, but it needs to be paid at the end of the month. If you haven't watched that Starlink video and you want to install Starlink in your house, make sure you watch it. When it comes to the internet, we subscribed for the residential light package, which costs $30 per month. Still under that communication bracket, I also tend to put my airtime here, because sometimes we don't have electricity, and when we don't have electricity, our internet doesn't work. So I end up switching to bundles, but that is not like something that happens regularly. So it's a once in a while thing. And then also I tend to buy airtime in order to communicate with my mom, with my siblings, with my mom-in-law, and all those people who I need to communicate with. So I usually put airtime at $10 per month. Before we installed the internet, this bill you are seeing right here would go above like $60 to $70. But now that we are constantly connected via the Starlink, it has significantly reduced. So for communication, $30 for the internet and $10 for the airtime would do for the month. So the next thing on my list, medication. We've got a child who takes medication on a daily basis. She's got a condition where she needs to be on medication every day. So this bill is unavoidable. And unfortunately for us, we don't have medical aid. And the reason why we don't have medical aid is mainly because most of these medical aid companies in Zimbabwe require you to have a pay slip from Zimbabwe. And my husband doesn't have a pay slip from Zimbabwe because he doesn't work here. I don't have a pay slip from YouTube. So it's really hard for us to get any medical aid. If you guys actually know of medical aid programs where we can actually pay in cash every month that are affordable, please let me know in the comment section. So for medication every month, I would say the medicine she takes and other meds that I might buy during the course of the month, just put it at $20. Sometimes this can go up depending on whether we get a child who is sick. Like I said, everything is from pocket. So I don't really stress about this, because whenever one of our kids falls sick, my husband readily just sends money for whatever hospital bill and things like that. So I usually just place the one that is that reoccurs, that we buy on a monthly basis. So that is that when it comes to medication. Cost number 3 is going to be fuel. It's going to be fuel. So as most of you guys know, the car I'm currently using right now is the Toyota D4D diesel engine. And I really like this car because it doesn't use a lot of fuel. You guys remember that Land Rover I had? That car, yai petrol. I think I would use around $40 to $60 every week to fuel that car. But with the one that I'm using now, the Toyota, per month I need about $50 of fuel. Fuel is going for $1.45 at the moment. Diesel is going for $1.45 at the moment. So for $50 I get about 30 something liters, which is enough for me because I'm not taking my kids, I'm not doing the school run every day. My kids actually use the school bus, which we have to pay for monthly, but we realize that at the end of the month it can actually be cheaper putting them on the school bus than for me to be doing the school runs on a daily by myself. So this $50 is just purely for my errands that I need to run around the house, to buy things that we need around the house and do 1 or 2 things. So I usually just peg it at $50 which I think is fair. What do you guys think? And then the next thing that I'm going to put up here is Zesa. So you'll find that the amount that I'm going to put here on Zesa is not going to be too much, because we buy our electricity in bulk. We used to buy like on a monthly basis, but you guys, again, the amount we were spending monthly was just insane. So we just buy a lot of electricity at the beginning of the year, mid-year and end of year, so that we are not, you know, constantly buying electricity. You know, when you're broke and that machine starts making noise, you're gonna be stressed. So for Zesa, I would just say $10, and this $10 is just for top up. There's a certain number of units that I want to maintain on my meter, and I just usually top it up every month so that it doesn't go below that number of units. And then water bill, we don't have a water bill here because we use borehole, but I'm sure if you are staying at a house where you depend on council water, then water is bound to be part of your bills. But fortunately for us, we use a borehole, so we don't really have a water bill. So the next item on my list is the one thing that takes up most of the money every month. And you can already guess what it is: food and groceries. Or should I just say groceries? I feel like if I say food and groceries, I just capture it is food and other things. And yeah, so what I like to do under groceries is to have categories of things. So the first thing I write are toiletries. I don't know why I do this, but I hate not having enough toiletries in the house and cleaning substances. So I always list out this first, and I'm just going to list them out one by one so that you guys get a like really clear picture of all the things that I'm going to write here. I'm not going to be putting prices because prices tend to differ, but if you're a regular shopper, you know the prices of these things, and I'm just going to put a total figure at the end that I know is enough for all those things. So the one thing I'll say under this grocery list is that some of the items that I'm going to talk about here, I don't have to buy them on a monthly basis, because I recently joined a grocery group that has been really beneficial towards cutting down the list of things that I buy when it comes to groceries on a monthly basis. And I would totally advise everyone who has got the capacity to join a grocery group to do so in order to survive living in Zimbabwe, because trying to buy these things on a monthly basis can become very costly. Unlike buying things in bulk, when you're in a grocery group, you actually buy things in bulk, which becomes cheaper. So that has been really helpful. So you'll find that under toiletries, things like tissues, I don't have to buy, washing powder, washing soap, simply because I have some of those things remaining from my last grocery group. And then another thing that I want to say under groceries is that when it comes to meat, my husband usually buys us meat in bulk. So what we'll do most of the time is that he can buy like a whole goat for us and just slaughter it. We slice it with our machine and pack it in the fridge. He also does the same for beef. Last time he was here, we went Kumusha and he slaughtered a cow for us. So that means we've got beef for months and months. And then pigs, we are keeping our own pigs. So from time to time, we go to the farm and get a pig slaughtered. And then chickens, you guys know that I keep chickens here. So meat is not really something big for us, and this I think has also helped us save a lot of money when it comes to groceries. So I'm not going to mention meat here. And then the other thing that also helps us save money when it comes to grocery is growing our own vegetables. You guys have seen me trying to grow vegetables in my garden. I am very passionate about that because I know how it's easy to spend $1 on onions or $1 on tomatoes, carrots. At the end of the week or at the end of the month, the total cost of those things can become really high. So I try as much as possible to have a garden that provides for those fresh veggies that we need regularly in our home. So with all of that being said, how I divide my groceries is this. The first thing I'll mention are toiletries, and then under toiletries we've got things like tissues, cleaning products, that is the Domestos, the Handy Andy, Vim, air freshener, etc. And then washing powder, like I said, I have washing powder remaining from the last grocery group, so I'm not going to be buying that, but it's usually under toiletries. And then there's bathing soap, lotions and sprays, diapers and wipes. I can't wait for the day when we no longer have to put Ethan in diapers. We're definitely going to save some money there. And then we've got our toothpaste, the mouthwashes, etc. So that's usually just my toiletries. We try to keep things simple here. And then meat, like I said, we don't really buy meat. Under meat, the things that I might buy, maybe once in a while I'll do bacon. And then I mostly do sausages for the girls, mainly for their lunch boxes, because my kids carry 2 lunch boxes to school, one for break time and then another one for lunch time. So I always have to be putting, different kinds of meats in their lunch boxes. Hence the bacon, the sausages. Maybe once in a while we'll buy minced meat, which I'm hoping I'll be able to start making on my own soon, because we also bought a minced meat machine. So yeah, that's that. And then the next thing I usually put on my list are basics. So under basics, we've got things like our mealie meal, which we also try to buy in bulk. So the last time when husband was here, we went and bought a lot of masaga ichibage, so that we have mealie meal. We also have 3 dogs, so that means we have to cook a little bit more of sadza. Even if we are not eating sadza that day, the dogs need to eat. So I usually do sadza and those or sadza in chunks, mixed nema bonzo and things like that. So hufu under basics. And you guys, don't take hufu for granted. A bucket of maize right now is going for $10. So for us, we usually take 3 buckets kuchikayo, 2 for the dogs and then 1 for ourselves. So that's already a bill of $30 just on hufu. And then when it comes to rice, this is something that I also don't have to buy every month, because I still have some rice from the grocery group, and also my husband usually buys like rice in bulk from Malawi. So most of the time we have the kilomberi rice, which is delicious, you guys. My favorite type of rice. Once you eat kilombero, you can never go back. So I don't really need to buy this. And then sometimes I'll do spaghetti and macaroni under the basics. And then I'll also put things like cooking oil, the sugar under this. Though, like I said, because of the grocery groups that I've joined, I don't necessarily have to buy these things monthly. And then there are also things like margarine, peanut butter, jam, tea leaves, milk. What else? Tea leaves, milk, the mayonnaise, the sauces, spices. All those things usually go under basics. And that concludes my food and groceries. But another thing that I have to mention here is that as much as I'm trying to grow my own veggies and fruits, I find myself going to the market every week. There are things that I buy on a weekly. So I put these things under perishables. And the first thing on that list are fruits. So these are things like bananas, apples, oranges, grapes, all those nice fruits that Ethan likes to eat a lot. I usually go to our local market to buy this because I find that it's always cheaper that side. And then there's also things like tomatoes and onions. There are times when I don't have those items in my garden, so I'll usually put this under the perishables. And then there's potatoes we go and buy from the market. I've never tried to grow my own potatoes, but I'm willing to learn, okay? Because potatoes can be crazy expensive sometimes. So potatoes also go under here. And then there's things like bread that we buy every day. If you buy a loaf of bread every day, that means that is $1 a day. And at the end of the month, that can easily be $30. So I think per week, when it comes to perishables, I would put around $10 weekly on perishables. So that means in a month already, we're talking about $40, $30 to $40 on perishables. So considering everything that I've told you guys, the total bill of groceries, I would say, comes up to $200 to $250 monthly, depending on what is left in the kitchen, what I have in my pantry, and things like that. So that is that. What do you guys think? Is this too high? Is this too high? Or that's around the same amount you guys are spending on food monthly? Another cost that I incur on a monthly basis is the cost of keeping our chickens. So we've got chickens here, like I say, which lay eggs for us, but we have to buy feed for them every month. So chicken feed goes for around $28 for a 50 kg bag, and this usually takes them for the whole month. So what I'll do sometimes is I'll mix this chicken feed with my creche just to bulk it up, and just so it can stretch a little bit longer, because remember, these are not commercial chickens, so this is just for home consumption, so it doesn't need to be straight feed. So I try and mix it with the macreshi so that it bulks up and hence saves us some money. And then the next item on my list, probably the last item on my list, is the miscellaneous. Oh, before I go to the miscellaneous, the next item on my list is kids' clothes. So this is not something that we put on our budget every month, but from time to time we need to buy kids' clothes. And this month, to be specific, I want to focus on Anodiwa. I was cleaning out their wardrobe the other day, and I realized that Ano's clothes are now really small. Isabel gets to have Ano's hand-me-downs, which is great. So Isabel always has a lot of clothes, but Ano is growing so quickly. She is outgrowing her clothes, her shoes, and everything. And right now, she actually doesn't have a decent pair of shoes to wear. So yeah, I really need to buy her some clothes this month. So I will just put this at $100. And this is not just for Anodiwa. I'm also looking at Ethan. Ethan is growing, you guys. Every month he outgrows his clothes. And what I usually do to try and keep this bill of clothes to a minimum is that I usually go kumabero, especially for pamba, vachitamba, because they don't really go anyway. They are mostly at home. So to save money, I usually go kumabero, pick out a few items for them, and then know at least kutivanichi. And then maybe if I need to find like special clothing, I'll maybe get into the shops, find new stuff for them, especially the shoes. So this month we are going to be having this bill, yeah, so that I can just cater for the kids and all their wants. And then the last but not the least thing that I want to mention here is miscellaneous. So when you've got a home and you're owners of a home, there are certain costs that come with running a home that might be unexpected. For example, just last week, I had a plumber come in and fix a tap for me. I had issues with my tap and I didn't have money then, guys, but I also could not stay in a tap irukurana, so I called a plumber. He came in, fixed everything, and he charged me $15. So that is money that should always be there under miscellaneous. And then another example is things like maintenance of the yard. Also last week I had some people come in to cut grass around the yard. This is the rainy season, and because our yard is big, they tend to be places where the grass grows like crazily, and in order to keep it neat and keep it clean, you always need to call people to cut grass. And those people are not cheap, guys. They are not cheap. They charged me $15 for cutting grass around our yard. I would understand because our yard is a little bit big, and we also have the front part where we've got lawn that needs maintenance. But yeah, so all those costs go under miscellaneous. And then I think the other thing that I need to mention here is that I'm thinking of getting someone who comes in to help with maintaining the yard. Our yard is one of my biggest headaches. Yes, we love the space, we love that we've got a bigger yard, but that also means more maintenance. So the people who come to clean the yard, to just maintain the place, usually charge $5 a day. And I was thinking that if we can have someone come once or twice a week, that would be great. It would help me with my garden. It would also just mean that our yard is always well kept and, you know, clean all the time. So this money I'm not going to put under miscellaneous. I just need to put it on its own, because once it goes under miscellaneous, problem. So yard, I'm just going to put it here and put it at maybe we start with once a week. The person can come once a week, so that will be $20 in the month. And then the last one that we always argue with my husband is my pocket money. You guys, am I not entitled to a pocket money? I think every wife should be entitled to pocket money, because we do a lot of work, and especially now that I don't have a house help, I feel like because I'm not paying someone, that money should be coming to me and more on top. So I usually put pocket money at $100 just for my maintenance, hair, things that I want to do as a woman, as a lady. I know I should be doing these things for myself, but I think my husband should also be doing these things for me. So when he has the money, he sends, but when he doesn't, he doesn't. And you know, that's why I'm doing this part-time YouTube thing, so that I can get my own pocket money. You understand? I know you understand, right? So I would say that is the total list of everything that we spend money on every month. And guys, you need to keep in mind that this is just fuel. Like I said, we have got 4 kids who are in school. 1, 2, 3, 4. So our bill for school fees is too much. It's way too high. But that one, unfortunately, we cannot really compromise on it, because we need a good education for our kids. Kids need to go to school. So we really, every month, we try to play around with the things that are on this list and see where we can cut off and where we can save, so that we put that money towards other investments and putting our kids to school. But all in all, this is how we spend our money. I will do the total for this and put it on the screen so that you guys can see. I know it's going to be a huge total bill, but like I said, this is not constant. So I would definitely want to know what you guys think about this monthly budget. Is it on the higher side, or is it actually on the lower side? I know that it might be on the higher side compared to what most families are spending in Zimbabwe, because the average Zimbabwean who is working gets paid between $300 to $500. And you guys, these people are paying rent. Some of these people are paying rent from this money. They are putting their kids through school with this money. They are eating from this money. So sometimes I wonder, like, how are people surviving Zimbabwe? No wonder why everyone is selling something nowadays, because it's just so hard for you to depend on one source of income, because it's simply not enough. And it's not our fault, you guys. The economic climate is really, really harsh in Zimbabwe. It needs you to be awake, to to really think out of the box and find ways in which you can make more income. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comment section. How much are you surviving on as a family living in Zimbabwe? Let's share ideas on how we can save more money or make more money so that we can live better lives. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Until then, bye bye.